Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today is going to be the greatest day of your life. Have you ever wondered why many really bright people seem to struggle in life? Or why sometimes when we give something everything we've got, we just can't seem to make it happen? Well, after several years of trying to figure it out, I was finally able to piece everything together. Think about this. My interest in this topic began many years ago after I experienced a traumatic car accident and paralysis on the left side of my body. But up until that point, I'd been chugging along in life just like everyone I knew. I was in high school. I had a series of dead-end jobs as a high schooler. I mean, that happens to everybody, right? But at the urging of a successful businessman, I started reading every day. And after a few years, I had a healthier body, I owned a company, I had a college degree, and I was operating around the world. I was earning a lot of money, But these kinds of dramatic changes don't happen by accident. However, I couldn't explain what I had done to make such a tremendous difference in my life. I had the best doctors in the world telling me I would never walk again. My brain damage was so extensive I wasn't a good candidate for college. I would never be a good businessman because my decision-making abilities had been impacted by the massive brain damage that I had suffered. But I'm going to tell you what, after about 9 years of focusing on me and getting the hell away from the opinions of the medical professionals and what everybody else thought was possible for me, and I started to focus on what I believed I could do, I found what I was really looking for. And that answer changed everything. I realized that we don't see the world as it is. We think we do, but we don't. We see the world as we're programmed to see it. First we're programmed genetically, and that's why we all look like our relatives, right? And then we're born and we're programmed environmentally. We learn to speak the language of that environment, we like the food in that environment, and we stay the same socioeconomic level as the people in the environment we were born into. But few people are an exception to that rule. And they manage to create a new, more exciting environment, but unfortunately, most people are not exceptions. The good news is, even if we begin to live in a certain way for 30, 40, 50, or 60 years, we can take steps to update our mindset, change our programming, and you know what? And we can be or do anything we seriously want. And I'm going to give you some habits here that I utilize to start developing and strengthening my mental acuity every day until I changed where I thought I was and where I thought I could be to what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be. And you can upgrade your life in a very simple way. Think about this. The first thing you need to do is create a mental image of what it is that you want. Remember what I said about people struggling in life and not being able to make things happen? Well, when that happens, we're letting our circumstances or conditions dictate our lives. And to keep that from happening, you must think of something you really want and develop a clear mental picture. Then keep that image in mind as long as you can and as often as possible. And we do that in many ways, usually by writing it out on a piece of paper and then reading it over and over again until we have built the idea and the image in our mind into something that just becomes a repetitive thought. It's kind of like your favorite song. You ever get that song stuck in your head? I want you to get the song of your life stuck in your head, where you're constantly have the repetitive thinking of, I want better than this. I'm going to do better than this. I'm going to try something new. I'm going to take new actions to build a new life. And the clearer and more definitive you make that picture in your mind, and the more you focus on it and all of its specific details, the stronger your desire to have that life is going to be. And the stronger your desire, the easier it will be to keep your mind fixed upon the picture of what it is that you want. And when you hold that image in your mind, you do things and release new energy every day that moves you and the resources and the people you need closer to your specific desire and the life you want to build. And it absolutely works that way. I get so excited about it because I look back over my path, I remember sitting in that wheelchair thinking, oh, my life is over. I can't move the left side of my body. Everybody around me seemed very negative, but I could tell they were trying to be positive. When people have bad news, but they're trying to share it in the kindest way possible, I could see right through that crap, and it used to make me so upset because I remember when I wanted to start applying for colleges, and I went in to do some therapy, and I believe they called it occupational therapy, where they set a board down in front of me, and it had 6 nails, and it had a shoestring tied at the end of the board. And they wanted me to run the shoestring around the nails, and when I was done, they told me I probably wouldn't be a good candidate for college. Well, silly them. And I'm not quite sure how a shoestring around nails gave them any idea of what it was I would be capable of accomplishing in the future. But I bet every single one of those individuals would be as surprised as hell to see me where I'm at right now. And you know what? I'm a great example of what anybody can do if they just focus and apply some of the ideas and the principles that I'm representing to you. You can change your life like that. Habit number 2. Habit number 1 teaches you to use your mental power to visualize your desired results and start changing how you think and feel each day, right? So you know how to do that. Now I want you to prioritize your daily activities, and then you'll turn the image that's in your mind into your reality. You see, most people complete all kinds of meaningless tasks each day so they can cross them off their long to-do list, but people who really make things happen in their lives create a list of the most important things they must accomplish that day to move closer to their deepest desires. And you may be doing this on a daily basis right now, right? Every morning you wake up, you write your primary goal at the top of a piece of paper. You come up with 20 ways that you can move yourself towards the goal you've written at the top of that paper over the next 24 hours. So now you're creating a prioritized list of items you need to check off that are going to get you to your dreams and your desires. So instead of doing meaningless tasks like, cleaning house or doing the laundry, focus on what's going to bring better things into your life and do those good things that are going to be necessary in order for you to accomplish each individual goal. And those will be in that list that you check off each day. And make sure you do at least one thing each day that moves you closer to your goal. We try to create a list of 20, but if you can only think of one, do that one thing, because I'm going to tell you what, doing one thing each day that will move you closer to your goal is a heck of a lot more powerful than doing nothing. Okay? And if and here's the deal, once you make that list, remember that discipline is not about forcing yourself to do unpleasant things. Instead, it's about being willing to act upon your own deepest values. It's giving yourself a command and then following through on it, even if it means making sacrifices like missing parties or social events or not eating the junk food you crave. I tell you what, I was 16 years old sitting in a wheelchair. I, at that time, didn't have any social events or anything I was really setting aside. All I had to do was sit in that wheelchair and think. And I thought, well, if I'm going to use my mental acuity, I may just begin to use it in the right way so I can start to attain some things I want in my life. 6 months later, I walked out of that hospital without a wheelchair. And I'll tell you what, it was one of the most fulfilling actions I've ever taken in my life. Now, I'm not saying I thought myself into the physical activity that allowed me to walk again. I'm not saying I healed myself. This wasn't a miracle that I created. What this was the conscious development of a thought that I focused on. Over time, I'm going to walk again. I can do this. I'm not going to quit. I can do this. And you know what? Through focus and sheer discipline and determination, I got up every single day ready to go. And you know what happens when you get up every day ready to go? You're motivated, you're energized, you make decisions that will make sense towards accomplishing whatever it is you're focusing on in your mind. Because Andrew Carnegie, one of the most successful people ever in the history of the world, said, anything that you hold within the mind that is either feared or revered, but accentuated, will immediately begin to clothe itself in the most convenient way possible. And you know what? I believe that's 100% true. And to create the life you want, you have to pursue your goals and dreams relentlessly. Excuse me. Wow. Hey, how about that? You must overcome adversity and persist, sweeping aside anything that stands between you and your goals. Now, I'm going to tell you what. Persistence is an essential factor in achieving any goal that makes you stretch. So get in the habit of pivoting or finding ways to navigate around obstacles. Never quit. Finish what you set out to do. You have items in your list you need to accomplish each day to move towards your goal. You use your discipline to create the list. You use your persistence to complete the items on the list, one at a time. Get them completely done. Do the first one. When that one's done, check it off. Now forget about that one. Forget about the others that need to be done and just go to the next one that needs to be done. You focus specifically on the individual task that you're working on at that point in time, and you utilize your strong persistence to continue through the task until it is complete. Now this is powerful, and this can be a life-altering circumstance for you. By doing this, you're creating new habits. You do this for a month, it's going to be a habit. You're going to do it all the time. It's going to be seamless. Wait until you see how you're approaching the activities in your day-to-day. The way you respond to circumstances is going to be so different from how you used to respond, and it's because you've developed a mental maturity around a worthy goal, a worthy ideal. And that's success. Success is working towards a goal or a worthy accomplishment and attaining it 100%. That's all you need to do. So you know what? Nothing I've mentioned today is difficult, hard, or it's not really new either. These are things that I've been mentioning every day now for about 8 months. But I'm telling you what, if you start developing and strengthening any one of these recommendations I'm making to you, you know what? And it's going to change your life like that. And start small. Make one change at a time. That's what I always say. But over time, you will experience a synergistic effect from all of these new habits that you're creating. And synergy occurs when the sum is greater than the separate parts. So not only will you begin to move closer to your goal, but you'll also become happier, more prosperous, and more creative. You know what? I believe it. I believe that these principles work as I say they do. I've watched them work time and time again with multiple individuals. I went to Estes Park, Colorado not too long ago, and I went to a restaurant there that my wife and I go to frequently. I introduced one of the waiters there to the goal card. Now this guy, he created his first goal card on a napkin, put it into his wallet, and you know what I thought? I'll probably never hear about it again from this gentleman. It just seemed like he was kind of on board with me, but he was listening to me with somewhat disbelief. He wasn't 100% sold, and I'm not anybody who's trying to sell anybody on anything, so I wasn't there to convince him. And if you've ever met or talked to me in public, I very rarely talk about success principles or anything like this. I do it for the YouTube channel for you because I care about you, and although I care about everybody else, it's just not a topic that I focus on with everybody because that's my time. That's my time with my spouse, and we want to sit there, we want to talk and have our time. I'm not there to give a seminar. I'm there to give my full attention to my spouse, my love and affection and attention directly to her because she's my best friend, my partner, and that's where my focus is. But back to this gentleman. So he put that in his wallet, and I was talking to somebody else with my wife at the time, so he came over and I introduced him to the goal card, and then he disappeared. So about 3 months later, my wife and I went back to the same restaurant. The gentleman came over to our table, got on his knees, and started sobbing. And he cried. And he said, Doug, he said, I went out and I looked at your YouTube channel, and I went through the first 30 days, and when I realized what you're doing, it changed my life. And he said, I quit smoking. I've lost 100 pounds. He was either going to get into real estate or insurance, but he was going to do something where he could be an entrepreneur and start his own business. These ideas and principles had changed him. Him and his wife were waking up every single morning, and when they got ready for work, they would put my videos on the TV, and they would just set it to play in a linear fashion. So it'd be one video after another, and they would listen to them on high volume from the television set as they got ready in the morning. And he said, Doug, it's changed our lives. I've never heard anybody talk like this before. And he knows me, and he knows how my life has changed and who I am as an individual. So I may have built some trust with him for a few years prior to the circumstance where I introduced him to the goal card. So he reached into his back pocket, pulled out his wallet, and it was that same damn napkin that he had written, I am so happy and grateful now that, and he had a goal written after the word that. And he was carrying that napkin around with him for 3 months while he was watching these videos, and it changed his life. I gave him a hug, I started to cry, he started to cry, and it's when I realized that what we're doing here is having a real impact. We're really changing lives. The recommendations that I'm making to you really do work. I live a great life. It's fantastic. I went from handicapped, bankrupt in a wheelchair, partially paralyzed on one half of my body, not supposed to live past the age of 30. Now I have beautiful relationships with people all around the world, famous, not famous. I have a fantastic spouse. I have 2 beautiful children. One who's 14 is about to graduate from high school and go to college. I have an 11-year-old that can write books better than any professional I've ever met. She is so creative, she'd blow you out of the water. And someday she's going to write these incredible books that are going to change everybody's world. I mean, she just writes amazing, incredible, creative content. You wouldn't even believe it came from an 11-year-old little girl. But it is incredible, the things that I've had the opportunity to experience. Now, I teach my kids these things, these ideas, and they represent these ideas because when kids are born, they come out as an empty glass. And it's up to you as a parent to fill that glass. And whether you fill it with positive things, negative things, success ideas, ideas of entrepreneurship, kindness, gentleness, gratitude, it doesn't matter. Whatever you put in that glass, that's who they're going to be. You know, a lot of times people will come to me and say, my kids are bad, they misbehave all the time. And I always ask them, how do you think they got that way? You know? And how do you think we got this way? Our parents put ideas into us. Our environment put ideas into us. But you know what? It's not static and it doesn't have to stay that way. You're not who you used to be and you're not who you're going to be. You're who you are today. And I don't give a damn what your mom thinks you're capable of doing, what your buddy told you you could do, your best girlfriend, your best guy friend. I don't care what they think is possible. All I care about is what you want in your life, and you can build that life and have those things 100% guaranteed. It happens that way for every single person. And you know what? I'm going to keep coming back every day until you get exactly where you need to be and we're done. And you know what? I'm never going to quit because I'm not a quitter. So I'm just going to keep coming back every single day and continue to share good stuff. You know why? Because I care about you, I believe in you, and I know if anybody can do it, you can. And for my friend at the restaurant up in Estes Park, Colorado, he's an amazing human being. He's an incredible individual. I really needed the boost at the time when he gave it to me. You know, the right things will come into your life at the right time if you're living a good life, a good, positive life where you're putting good things out into the world. You're living life with gratitude and you're trying to help people. The right things will just miraculously and magically come into your life exactly when you need it. It'll help you. It'll assist you. Trust me, you're not alone in this endeavor. There's goodness in the world that's going to come to help you be good. There's wealth and success in the world that will come into your life to help you to be wealthy and successful. You just got to believe it. Put good things into your mind. I tell you what, if I would have listened to those doctors tell me what was possible for me and I believed it, I'd still be sitting in a wheelchair today. Instead, you know what? Every single morning I'm on the treadmill walking, not because I want to be in the greatest shape of the world, but because it's part of my effective routine that I utilize on a daily basis. And it helps me to be successful, and I'm thankful for the fact that today I can walk, whereas at one point in my life, being a paralyzed, handicapped individual with brain damage, I just didn't know that this life would be possible. But if this life is possible for me, for you, it's 100% possible. I believe that in my heart. I truly do. And I care about you, and I'm going to be back tomorrow with some really great stuff. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to tell you about some new things tomorrow, some new ideas. We're going to continue to build a great life together, and it's going to be wonderful. Take care, friends. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Don't forget I care about you. Bye.